We did it. We did it. 52 episodes in 52 weeks. Let's talk about consistency while the crowd goes wild. Ah, oh my goodness. When I set this goal of 52 episodes in 52 weeks, was I 100% confident that I was going to be able to stick to it? No. But what I did was is I brought people in that would help me be accountable, right? I brought Mr. Producer in and he's been with me since day 1 offering me encouragement and advice and just helping me as I go along this journey. And sometimes we want to start things and we're so scared because we don't know how to do it. But if you plan and if you work through those anxieties, you come out a lot better on the other side. And I used to think when I was younger, a year is such a long time. But as many of you know, a year when you get older, it's nothing. It's 52 weeks. I only had 52 attempts to make myself better this year. And it's just really opened my eyes that a year just goes by so quick. And I'm really excited for this upcoming year to see how far I will have grown. And I appreciate all of you guys that have tuned in and listened to the podcast, have offered feedback. It's been an experience, right? To think about talking about dog poop on the internet and helping people and connecting with people that are in the same industry, like what a time to be alive, right? And the dog waste removal industry is so fascinating. There's so many interesting people, so many smart individuals that are coming into this industry that are already in this industry, and it's mind blowing. I appreciate every single one of you guys that have tuned in, hopped on the podcast, and been a guest. And I'm excited to announce that this episode is number 52, but it's also a special episode because I have the pleasure of interviewing my friend Adam, and we talk about a lot of good stuff. This man is just packed full of knowledge. And it's unfortunate I was only able to talk to him for an hour today because he's just got so much knowledge. But he said he's definitely going to come back on the podcast. And so let's just get into it. Let's get into the interview with Adam. Take it away, Mr. Producer. 52 episodes. What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Krupin. And on today's special episode, I have a very special guest. I'm super excited. Adam. He is the owner of Flying Acorn and the mastermind behind several other small businesses. He is a powerhouse of knowledge, and I'm so happy to have you on. What's up, Adam?
A powerhouse. Wow, the hype is real already. So yeah, we have Flying Acorn is our parent company over 7 businesses that we have, and then one of them is a pet waste removal company. So Smart Scoops is our pet waste removal company. But yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah, thank you so much. And that's how you're here. This is how we're having this conversation. It was weird because we've talked online, we've seen each other online, and we actually met face to face in Nashville randomly. And I was totally caught off guard by that when I glitched when I we met face to face because I knew that I had seen you somewhere, but I wasn't really too sure where. And I got to meet your wife, Lindsay. I love her. She's so sweet. And so, yeah, if you want to, how did you even find out about the pet waste removal industry?
Oh man. Okay. So we've been with our first business that we got into was pressure washing. And we when you're in the home service world, you tend to like kind of open yourself up to like, well, what else is out there? And so we saw that there was pet waste removal. It was just kind of orbiting our world. A couple of people had like kind of mentioned it. And so we had learned how to systemize business and how to plug people in and how to hire, how to recruit, how to market, how to sell. And so it just became like we had this stamp and we were just like, well, what else can we hit? And so when we found that like pet waste removal was like a thing, we found the Scoop Club group when it was open. and I jumped in there, yeah, a long time ago. And so it's a thing, all right. So I jumped in there, and I just started like listening and reading and just kind of talking with people. And then someone had needed some help with a logo, and so I helped them out. And then I just kind of focused back on my original business, and then I jumped out of there. But then, like years later, I don't know what it was, but I was like, let's get back to pet waste removal because I had written a business plan, and then I just kind of like threw it like in the corner, and I was like going through old Google Drives and I found it, and so I was like, well, hey, Lindsay, like maybe we should kind of take a look at this. Our time and our money, is at a place maybe we can kind of diversify. And so I started looking into like CRMs, and I found Sweep and Go, and I started like looking through Sweep and Go, and then they had like a list of all their clients. And there's my logo that I had made for someone. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. So I reached out to the lady and I was like, yo, like, are you still in business? And she goes, yeah, dude. Like, we just like we're crushing like six figures and like we're doing well. And I was like, okay, I got to get you on a Zoom call. Like, let's talk data. And that's really where like it just really kind of snowballed to where it currently is. And so yeah, it's been a bit of a journey just to get back into poop.
So you casually just grazed over, "Oh, I put together a business plan and I knew how to build businesses. Let's go back," because a lot of the
Okay.
listeners, they struggle with that type of stuff. They know how to kind of put things together little by little and piece it together, and it might not be the most effective or the most efficient way. When you started your power washing company, did you already have knowledge about business, or did you start off by piecing things together and then tracking the data? And then you're able to replicate that. How did that process go?
I would say if you gave me three columns there, like it's all A, B, and C, and then a little bit of personal skill, because we all have skills that are inherent, and then we can learn all skills, but there are some that are inherent based on what we naturally like, what our propensity is for with regards to communicating with people, and then also for like taking care of things on a list. Some people like, I just want to talk to people and be a butterfly. Some people, they want to just like, I don't want to talk to anyone. They're introverts and they just want to just take care of tasks and objectives. We happen to kind of ride the line where we're sitting on both of those, my wife and I, and just full fledged. I have to just kind of give credit to the fact that there's two of us. So my wife and I have really been a two-headed monster. It really helps to have two people just going in the same direction, attacking in the same direction. So but yeah, with our pressure washing company, we, it was a funny start, a fun start, and then it was a crazy start, and then it was like, I don't know, it was rocky, and then it was good. But then when it was good, then we were really able to just kind of like, okay, this is a real thing now. What do we do? And so what we do is we listen. And so whenever we're in the proximity of people who know things and know systems, who have done it and who have made mistakes, you have got to listen, because the biggest mistake people can make in a small business is to be like, yo, I made a small business, I'm so proud of myself, and now what I want to do is like this is mine, like I'm going to do my own thing. You cannot do that, in my opinion. I think you need to create businesses in order to sell them, because in 2023, like life is moving so quick that opportunities come so quickly. You don't know what you're going to be doing in 2 years. You may think like, I'm going to be scooping poop for a couple of years. I'm going to give this business to my kids, my grandkids, and it's going to be no. Like, don't think like that. Think, and we used to think like that. So I know where you're coming from when you're thinking like that. But with pressure washing, we went to a lot of conventions. People are really hungry in the pressure washing world because there's so much market saturation. And so as a result, you're going to interact with people who want to help, and then a lot of people who don't want to help. And so you're going to want to just kind of go to those people who want to help, and there's going to be a lot of crap. There's going to be a lot of things that they just want to take your money and give you books, and they want to give you chemicals, and they want to take your money, and then they want to give you information, and they want to coach you, and there's nothing really that you're coaching me. But what we found is that we were really good at sifting through the bones and just getting to the meat. And so what we did is we collected and just stored all of these things, like I said, how to recruit, how to hire, how to onboard, how to have checklists, how not to have too many checklists, how to prepare a client experience, how to have visual. I mean, when you're a business, You think like it's just so important that I want people to know that like I make a good hot dog, that I clean a good roof, and that I, scoop a good poop. Honestly, everybody assumes that you're going to do all those things well. I don't pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm looking for like a 3 out of 5, plumber. Can you give me like mediocre performance?" I'm assuming that you're going to install the toilet. It's going to be perfect. That's what I'm hoping for. Okay. So, but what you want to think about as a business owner is that they already assume that you're going to do a perfect job. What I want for you to do as a business owner is to consider what the experience is as the client. Okay. I'm going to eat you with my eyes before I ever call the phone. I'm going to look at your logo. I'm going to look at your website. I'm going to read all the information that you have on the website. Does it look like you're trying to force too much? Does it look like you don't have enough? So, and then when I call you and you come to my house and I see you scooping the poop and I see that you're in the uniform and that you got the hat and you got the badge, you got a wrap truck or you got a wrap car, and you're talking to me, you're handing me the business card, you're handing me the initial clean package, with the little goodies and the tennis ball and the bandana. Like, oh, yo, I love this. Like, this is an experience now. You're getting all my five senses involved, and that's what we have to think about. So yeah, in the pressure washing, we dove deep and we learned a lot, and we had to take like 10 good ideas and reduce it down to like three, and then systemize them and then test them out in the field. Because there were times where we had a ton of checklists, you know daily service checklists, and then end of day, beginning of day, and this and that, and we're going through all these, and it's just like, yo, it's too much. So you have to let your employees be a part of that process where you simplify it enough and it's effective enough so that you can, be a good business essentially, not only for your clients, but also for your employees and for the bottom line, make money.
And I think having staff will help you expand. And I think, like with me, that we've talked about this before, I'm struggling with that, and that's why I'm stuck where I'm at, because I haven't been able to divulge the time into diving deep into the things that need to be dove into, so you can expand, you can learn. And a lot of us don't take the time to look through the data that we collect, like you said.
Would you find that it's harder to really kind of go backwards, undo some of the things that you did that you didn't know that you did, but now you have to undo them? But you have a business to run. Like, I still have a route on Wednesday, but on Tuesday I had a Eureka. Like, do you find that it's difficult to do that?
I wouldn't say that it's for me. It's not, because I like to change things a lot, and I like to figure out a way to do it better. It's just a matter of finding the time to be able to do that, or making the time, and sticking to it and being like, "Listen, this isn't working. We need to fix this problem like ASAP. Not 3
Right.
months from now, not 5 months from now, now." And to be able to make the change and not be scared about it.
So you're an agent of chaos, but you just need to have more time to be an agent of chaos, to
Yeah.
change things up, to fix them.
Oh, that's my new nickname, Agent of Chaos.
No, it really is difficult once you get going. I think that, momentum or inertia, whichever, it's a real problem for business owners. And this is why companies tend to maintain their branding that they do. They maintain the website that they have the employees that they have. If it worked on Monday, it's going to work on Friday. And then when it doesn't work that next Tuesday, you're like, that's okay. It worked long enough. I'll go ahead and repeat that process and maybe I can get a couple more days out of it. Not realizing that if they make some really, you know, different tweaks that aren't big, but they're just different, that they can extend the life of a brand, of a website, of an operation system, of an employee. Because I know that hiring is a big pain point for a lot of businesses these days. And millennials and zennials, we get discredit for not being people that want to work for others, and I don't think that's the case. I just think that we value respect a little bit more than we do money, is what it comes down to.
I agree. Do you mind talking a little bit about the disc? Because we talked about this when it comes to hiring.
Sure. Yeah,
Uh,
no, I can go a little bit into it. It can be a super deep dive. So I'll go ahead and kind of hold my hand on the ledge as I kind of go underwater a little bit. But DISC is really a personality profile assessment tool. It's been around forever. It's been around for since I think like the 1920s. And what it is, it's a way to loosely categorize us with regards to how we interact with people and how we interact with just performing actions, taking care of tasks and objectives. And so every one of us can be categorized in four areas: D, I, S, and C. And so, if you're a D personality, then you're very task oriented, but you're not people oriented. And so, you're very task, you like objectives, but you tend to be kind of gruff. And so, you kind of come at it and very, whatever. So, an I personality is the inverse of that. So, they're very people oriented, but they're not very tasks. They're like, hey, like they like shiny things and they're like very squirrel. Those are people that are very charismatic in networking groups and, and the sort. And then S's are people who are very people oriented, but they're not very task oriented, and they're introverts. So the first two, the D and the I's, those are extroverts, but the S and the C, they're introverts. So the S is going to be someone who's very people oriented, but they're not task oriented. So these are your steady eddies. They're very calm. They're very empathetic. They're very supportive. They want everyone to get along. And then your C's are people who are kind of like your thinkers, your nerds. They like the spreadsheets. They're not people oriented. These are like your IT people. They prefer just to kind of like look at the intellects. They're very reasoning focused. They like to do things the right way versus like their way. They want to do the research. And so you can actually have a blend of two, even up to three. And there is a chameleon that has a perfect DISC. And so it's a pie graph that like you take the test and you answer the questions. And it's very hard to game. And then it basically does a pie chart on those four. And I happen to be a DIC. So it's someone who is, very task oriented. And I also am great with people, but then I also like to get into nitty gritty on the data. And so you can be really fluid with it too, because there are times when we're all of them. So, like, if you go into a kid's birthday party, you're gonna want to be like, "Yay, Timmy turned 3." I don't care about Timmy, but like that's like we're here, right? And so you turn into an I. And then like if your partner's loses a family member, you become very empathetic and you become that S. And then when it's like time to become a C, it's like, all right, I got to do this DIY project. I got to do the research. I don't want to waste the money and the time. And so you become the C. And with a D, when everyone's freaking out in the household and like we just need to get something, we got to go to Applebee's. Everyone, get in the car now, right? You become that D personality and you lead the charge. And that's why I like it, because it doesn't like pigeonhole you and say like this is who you are and you'll never change. We've actually changed quite a bit with our businesses. So I didn't used to have a lot of D, but when I found that working with my wife, who's all S, and working with people who were very S and very C, they tended to be a little bit more introverted. I felt like someone had to lead and had to command. And so my D grew quick, but then I also had to settle it down though, because then I became kind of demonstrative. So I had to learn how to empathize and work with people. And so now I feel like I'm at a nice, happy medium where I can, but regardless, we use it to hire, to onboard, to test, and to recruit. And we hit bullseyes nearly every time. And we maintain relationships with all of our employees. Yeah, DISC has been a life changer in personal and professional in our lives.
Now, from your experience, what personality or yeah, what profile would be perfect for hiring a scooper?
For hiring a scooper, so with technicians, and I would find this to be true with all home services, you want someone who comes on time, who likes to be told what to do, and has a system provided to them. So this is where the responsibility of the owner and the manager comes, because we need you to provide us a system. If you don't and you say, "Yo, it's easy to do, you'll figure it out. I need to go make the money over here and go sell or go admin," you're going to lose what is my belief to be the perfect personality blend, which is an SC or a CS. They can be interchangeable with a technician or an operator or a scooper. And the reason is because the S in somebody is going to want to be supportive of your goals, which is to operate a business. I want you to do well. I like that we're all getting along and that you're making money and I'm making money, of course. But again, 60% of people don't quit their jobs because of money. They quit because they're not feeling valued. So if you value someone for valuing what you're providing, there's going to be that nice symbiosis between y'all. The C is important because if you can just let them know, like, yo, this is how we scoop, this is how we do the padlock, this is how we put it all away, this is what you leave on the doorstep, this is how you take the pictures, this is how you put in the time, blah, blah, blah. You're like, yo, this is awesome. I like all of this routine and it's every day, it's consistent. I like that. The problem with D's and I's is that D's will want to kind of do it their own way. I's are want to want to do it the fun way. And so they might tend to like kind of, improvise and like, oh no, I didn't go there because like for whatever reason. And then like, yeah, I was a little late to the next person because I was talking to the neighbor and yeah, I'm building relationships. So you need someone who likes routine and who wants to just kind of keep it going steady like a metronome. So SCs and CSs are great and they'll always show up on time as long as you fill their cup. They don't want to disappoint you. They're but you got to be careful though because they may quiet quit on you if you're not checking in on them. So because they don't like confrontation, you got to be careful. And if you're not asking them how they're doing, checking in on them, making sure that they're happy with the systems that you have for them, they might just kind of want to squirm away from you and then they just disappear and send you a text message and then just kind of ghost you because that's how they deal with conflict sometimes. So,
Yeah, you have to be intentional as the owner to make sure that you're feeding them what they need and speak to them the way that they need to be spoken to.
yeah.
I'm a DI, and when you were explaining the squirreliness and being late because you were talking to a neighbor and you want to have fun, and it's like, oh, I did it this way, but we can tweak it a little bit. I know I've done that right in the past, but when I've hired, then it's not okay. It's because everything needs to be done a certain way. So when you talk about documentation and having procedures, for somebody that hasn't put any of that stuff together yet, what would you say the first step would be to get that ball rolling?
To get the ball rolling, the first thing that you can do, quite literally, is create a Google Drive, create a place, a landing place for you to compile. And so all my C personalities, even all my D personalities, they're going to love that. They're going to be like, totally, it makes perfect sense. My I's and my S's are probably gonna be like, well, I got it up here. I'm good. We'll keep it fun. Or I'll have someone else do it. Or I don't think I'm capable of creating lists, but you need to have a place to store all your notes and your information. And the first thing that you want to put down is you want to put down admin, marketing, sales, and operations or production, doesn't matter, but those two are the same. And then these are the four areas, the four pillars of any business that which underneath you put in all of your systems of each. So your marketing systems need to be separated from your sales. And that would be the best place to start. And then after that, you can kind of evolve into where you consider the customer experience. What do I want my customer to experience? I want them to know that I'm a professional company. Okay, great. What does that look like? Well, it looks like that we all have uniforms on. Okay, we all have uniforms on. So let's make a system for that. What does that look like? Well, it looks like in the admin world, we have an onboarding checklist for when we make new hires. Okay. So now we checklist that they're getting a shirt, they're getting a hat. Okay. And so now we have costs associated with that. We have a place to buy those. We have a consistent design. We have a color scheme. And then now all of our employees have a uniform. And then we have a uniform policy that we put in the handbook. Okay, so now we need to make an employee handbook. So everything is kind of connected to each other until you just kind of sit back and you're like, yo, like we got a lot of stuff here. Like this is awesome. And then you want to brand everything, make sure that it's all consistent, the same font, put it in the drive. And honestly, like that's value. If I buy a Krupin and it's got 50 documents and forms and policies and procedures that are all tested, proved, and they don't even have to be tested and proved. But if they're all branded and ready to go, that's a turnkey business, and your business just went from 100,000 to maybe 250,000 because now I with an equity group in many companies can go ahead and take that and plug it because I've got a labor pool that I need to take a couple people and I can put a manager and I can put two scoopers and maybe a commercial sales rep. And now I'm good to go. And now I have another vertical. And so that's what people are looking for who want to gobble at businesses. And again, kind of going back to the beginning of this conversation, right? You want to build a business so that you can sell it because who wants to pick up poop for the rest of their life? Nothing wrong with it. It's a young industry. And that's where it's golden, is because it's a young industry. But you want to go ahead and take advantage of that and strike while the iron's hot and develop a massive, amazingly dense and turnkey business and then give to someone with a lot of money who sees the brown rush going on and is like, yo, let me get that shiny thing. Like, yo, take it, dog. And then in 5 years, poop is going to be what pressure washing is and what HVAC was maybe in the 70s and 80s. And like now it's like it's always kind of evolving. What's the next thing? get in on the ground floor, systemize it, make it awesome, sell it and move on, and then go buy real estate.
Oh, yeah, I want a lake house one day.
Right?
We talked about my husband and I talk about that. I'm like, when somebody tries to short us, when they're like, "Can I get a discount?" I'm thinking to myself like, "No, that's not how I'm gonna get my lake house."
I got dreams too, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Like I said, we came in hot. You're a powerhouse full of knowledge. Now I know that there's a story behind the man of how you were able to gain all of this knowledge.
Yeah.
So, where were you at when you first started that first pressure washing business?
So we were actually up in North Carolina. That's where I met my wife. And we had just landed our corporate jobs. And that was kind of like the goal of mine my whole life was like I needed stability because I bounced around endeavors and careers and hobbies. And I think that was the entrepreneurial that was in me was just like looking for something. And I was always kind of, but I finally landed this corporate job. I had just graduated from college and I had my degree, and Home Depot gave me a data analysis position, and I had an office, and it was I was making great money. Lindsay was making great money at Lowe's. And we were both in our corporate positions, and we were like, yo, like life is good, right? But we just weren't happy. We still kind of felt this like this drive to maybe just have our hands on our own steering wheel. And we didn't feel like we had that in those corporate positions. So anyway, so I had someone who was very, very supportive, who was managing me. And I told Tanya, I was like, look, I think I'm going to put in my 2 month notice. She was like, 2 month, like that's, not a 2 week. I was like, yeah, 2 month, because I want to make sure that I do this. I found this opportunity to like do pressure washing, and I'm going to go down, get some equipment, do some training, and I think I'm going to go all in on it. And she was like, yo, I think this is great. And I support you, and whatever you do, like it's going to be good. So we ended up kind of going all in on this pressure washing thing, and we were in Charlotte, and I had to come down to Orlando to get the equipment and to get the truck. And I mean, we went all in on it. And then so sure enough, like I quit my job, and it was around October, the end of October. And I did like a couple of jobs in the area. I like hired a dude, and I was like, I made our garage like a complete like little warehouse. And it was our first house that we had just bought together. And we made a fence and did the roof and the gutters. We put like so much money into it. And all of a sudden it's getting cold. And so I don't realize that this is a problem until I go to breakfast with another person who's in the area who does pressure washing, and they're like, well, welcome. And it's going to be great to have you in the area, and I'll be happy to help you as much as I can. First thing I'm going to say is you came in at an interesting time, because when it gets cold, you cannot pressure wash like you can in the spring and summer. And I said, well, why ever? And they said, because the cold weather hurts the pumps, it causes things to crack, and you have to winterize your equipment. So you're basically getting started like in the 11th hour before you have to close down. I said, oh my goodness, I just quit my job to do this. And they were like, well, good luck with that. So Lindsay and I were like, well, maybe we can like go get a storage unit, and we can like fit in the truck and winterize it every day and still go clean. Yeah, no. So we couldn't make it work. And so I was like, I'm in the all in mode right now. So here's what I'm going to do. Lindsay, I'm going to go down to Florida, and I'm going to stay there till like the springtime. I'm going to go get an apartment, and I'm just going to work down here, and then I'll be back. And then you keep going with Lowe's, and it's all good. And she maybe took like a couple hours, and she was like, no, I'm coming with you. I was like, are you serious? She goes, well, you have to go together. I was like, dude, we have this house. We have these cats. We like, what are we going to do? And she was like, well, we'll figure it out. So we told our parents on Thanksgiving Day that we were leaving 24 hours later to go down to Florida in our Prius and our F-250 with the equipment, and we were going to go just figure it out. And they were livid. They
I
couldn't
bet.
believe. They were calling me, being like, yo, insurance? Why are you walking away from a great job and career? What are you doing? Like her dad got in my face at the breakfast table. And I was like, homie, we're good. Like, just relax. It's all good. And he goes, it better be good. So we ended up coming down here, and we didn't even have a place to stay permanently. We had to just come down here and stay at an Airbnb. that was just going to let us hang for a couple weeks and just kind of feel us out. So we were in this 10-foot square room with a Murphy bed. We had all of our marketing material. We had printer, computer, and all of our like boots and everything for cleaning. And we were just like, I guess we're going to figure this out. And it was a house that had four Australian shepherds, and they had a cat named Captain who had three legs and one eye. And every day it was like dogs and cats everywhere. And we just had to get out. And for our own sanity, we had to just go find business. And so, through no other means other than just we had to, we figured it out because we had like money in the account that was doing this. And we ended up coming down to our last $200. And I remember we flew up to Maryland for a baseball game. My little sister threw the pitch to the Orioles game, and so we went up there to go support her and see that. And when we were up there, we had like $200 in our account. My parents were paying for everything, and I remember us not feeling stressed out about it because we were just like, we have to stick to the plan. Like it has to work. Well, essentially, we had to burn the ships in order to make it work for the exploration. And so burning the ships was leaving North Carolina. We still owned the house. My mom was still up there in North Carolina. She was living in the house, renting from us. We ended up bouncing back and we did 147 that first year. We clawed and just scraped to get all the residential business that we did. We landed like a $28,000 commercial job just from donating work. Because we even found that like if we donate, it's a great way to get our name out, but we just want to make connections. And so we were donating to this women's group in our town, and someone just drove by and they're like, "Hey, like, do you guys do pressure washing on big buildings?" We're like, "Yeah." We never done that. And they're like, "Well, we're bidding a cleaning on our big building. Would you mind coming and talking with our board member president?" We're like, "Oh my gosh, like, yeah, absolutely." So it's a lot of faking it before you make it. We went and did a demo. We landed the job. They liked that it was a husband and wife. People love a story. And 3 weeks later, we had $28,000 in our bank account. And from there, it was the moon. We had the confidence. And we ended up staying at that Airbnb for 3 months. And because we were a new business and we were employed by ourselves, a bank wasn't going to lend us money. So even though we had money for a down payment for a house, no one was going to finance us. And so we ended up buying an RV brand new off the lot, a toy hauler, had it towed to an RV park where we stayed for 2.5 years. 2.5 years where we made close to $800,000 pressure washing, and we operated out of the RV. We had employees coming there. I mean, it was like we faked it, and then we were making it. And then it was only until after that, after the 2.5 year mark, that we were able to get a house. And it was during 2020 where like the interest rates were super low, so we got real lucky. But it didn't feel like we could really breathe until we got out of that RV and we got away from the Airbnb. But it came close, man. And we ended up selling our house remotely. We never even went back up to Charlotte. We found a realtor and we said, "Sell it." And she sold it. We made like 15 grand. Um, and the rest is history. So we're Floridians now.
Oh, well, that was a lot. I'm regrouping my thoughts right now. The confidence that you had to lead to allow Lindsay to be able to just go all in on you like that. So, as a man, as somebody that's making decisions and somebody that's casting vision, what does that process look like in your head to be like, nope, this is the plan, this is what we're going to do? I believe in myself.
I believed in myself and I trusted in the research that I had done. And so I had a little bit of a reputation for starting and not finishing things. And I've always resented that my whole life. And this was one of those, I hope this works out. And I hated that. And I was confident in what we were doing because I had done the research and I knew that it was good. So when Lindsay told me that she was willing to quit her job, I said, "Well, of course you are. We're a team, we're a partnership." And so I never really felt like, "Oh gosh, I better make this work." I knew it was going to work beforehand. But Lindsay and I have always been a partnership. And only recently did she tell me that she was super nervous and a little resentful in that first year. Like, why did we uproot our whole lives and come down to Florida? Like, what are we doing? And it wasn't until after we got through that period that she admitted that she had that that resentment. And I feel like that's really just a testament as a small business owner where we go through some tough times, and the classic adage, you either live or you learn, but you really have to live that, because if you think that you live or you lose, you're in for a rude awakening. You have to learn. You have to listen to people and you have to learn from their mistakes. When people say that this is a horrible marketing avenue in this area, don't do it. You have to take that word as gold. Now, if you have excess amount of money and you want to maybe just try it and just to confirm, okay, it's confirmed, don't do it. But if you find out that it works, if you just kind of tweak it a little bit, then you have to have the resources in order to do the stuff. But otherwise, you have to learn from the mistakes of other people. And so we had to really kind of take that on, because we didn't have the resources to go test and try stupid things because we wanted to satisfy our ego and say to ourselves, this is our business. We can do what we want. You have to listen. You have to learn. You got to be smart and very humble.
Yeah. Yeah, can we touch back on to the relationship that you and Lindsay have, because not a
Sure.
lot of people have what you got going on. And one person might start a business and the other person isn't involved in it, or they don't believe in it, and so it's like an opposing force that's in the opposite direction. Can you expand on how important it is to be on the same page together when you have a
Yeah,
partner?
man, I'm thinking back to some people in my life who are small business owners. When we were going, when we were in the thresher in the beginning, they were in their areas and we were all, having our mastermind group and our calls, and we were venting to them and they were venting to us. There was a lot of people that experienced the hardships of not having the support from their partner when doing a small business. And it's a very complicated situation that um, it's not as simple as just, you know, love me, baby, support me, baby. Like you get into a lot of, childhood and teenage stuff with your partner that may be going on there. And not to, get into the dense and thick and icky weeds, but I will say that if your partner is not being supportive of your endeavor, you may want to tap into that and figure out what it is that they need support on. So, ironically, they're not supporting you. What do they need support on? There's something there. And even if that means just listening to what they're experiencing emotionally while they're seeing you become successful, be successful, or wanting to be successful, because all three of those can be a threat to someone who don't feel support in some area of their life, even if it means just support me in listening to what I had go on in my life in the past. Well, yeah, we had some people that they had wives who didn't support, and then eventually, when they did support, they were going in the same direction and they crushed it. They're crushing it now. And then on the flip side, they never supported, and then they ended up splitting and getting a divorce, and now they're with someone who supports and sees in the same direction, and now they have multiple businesses and they're doing the thing. I'm not saying that, if it doesn't work, go ahead and get rid of it and move on, but what I'm saying is that you need to have some real humble and real conversations where you have to put yourself second. You want to put yourself first because this is about me and you're supporting me, and I might be making more money than you at your cushy 9 to 5 job, but you need to support and you need to listen to whatever she or he have on their mind, because only then will they listen to you and hear what your needs are as far as supporting you, because that's real though. I mean, if I'm getting up every day and I'm going to go do marketing, network marketing, and then I got to go, throw flyers, or I got to go scoop poop, and I got to go clean, and I got to do all the things, like I'm admin, I'm marketing, I'm selling, and I'm operating, like, yo, I'm wearing 4 hats, and you're just wearing, a little hat from your big business. And then there's like resentment going both ways. You got to squash it, and you got to just talk and listen and just be humble. And it really just comes down to love. Y'all just got to really just love each other and just know that no one wants to resent. No one wants that. Who wants that gross feeling? You just gotta listen, gotta love.
And I really want to put some emphasis on where you said listen, because listening is a big thing with business, like you said, and then
Mhm.
also in your relationship. It's
Yeah.
hard to listen sometimes.
It's hard to listen to employees when you started the business. It's hard to listen to employees when you're investing all your time and I had $200 in my account and all this was going on. And all of a sudden I became an old person in this story. But you want to just go ahead and let people know what you've been through and where you've been in order to justify how you're treating people. But even no matter how big and how tall we are, we have to always listen to our spouse, our partner, our family members, and our empathy at has to be at max when we're running a business, because the greatest asset is not the equipment, it's not the tools, it's the people. As soon as I start training you to pick up the poop and to clean and to do all the things, you now have information in your head that I have so much research and time and money behind shoving it into your head. And now you quit on me? Yo, I just lost all that time, all that, like, and if I'm constantly filling that up and losing it, it's me that's the problem, not
Mm,
them.
that's good. That's deep.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to look in and realize that you're the problem. I've been the problem, and I openly have been admitting this the past year with a lot of things. And I looked at my husband. I said, I'm the issue here," and he's just looking at me like, "I
Like you're the
know."
issue.
But it doesn't matter if somebody else tells you. You, as a person, have to realize that as a business owner, a lot of times the owner is the bottleneck because they're the issue.
Yeah, the ends justify the means. And so if the end is, or the means is really just, I can't grow. I have 20 employees after 3 months. Like, this is crazy. Or, you know, I don't like networking. I don't like it. And I know that that's horrible. That I had a realization of that one time. I hate network marketing. I'm horrible at it. And I don't mind admitting that, but it's a skill that you have to have as a small business owner. And so if Lindsay is constantly doing network marketing and she's also selling, and she's also handling the admin, she's getting burnt out. I need to take a hat off, right? And so this is why having the support of a partner or a spouse is so important. So my hats off to all the single mothers and all the single daddies and all the single business owners, like, because it's so hard to just do it yourself. Like, people really do need a consigliere, an intern, an assistant, a partner to make it work. And so if you don't have any of those things, that's why that first hire is just so important. You don't have a choice. You have to figure out hiring so that you
Mhm.
can find the right person who can be your Crystal, who can be your John, who can be your Thomas, who be whomever. Like, this is my guy, this is my girl, and I'm going to go to war with them. And then that's when it kind of gets into the, like, well, do I give them part ownership? Do I give them equity and all that stuff? That's when it gets kind of sticky icky. But that's where there's also an opportunity too to let someone know I'm investing in you, and you are valuable to me. And because when you give someone ownership of something, that's powerful. But sometimes it's not needed, but it can be powerful.
But you also need to make sure that your numbers are right and you got an
Absolutely.
understanding of that before you make any like rash decisions like I'm going to give you 20% ownership of this or whatever it is.
Yep. Yep. Got to understand the numbers. Numbers are key. Math is the path.
A lot of business owners don't track their numbers. They don't have refined systems. Um, what's your
Yeah.
take on that?
I think, numbers scared us for a long time too. We did, kind of we didn't look at our P&Ls, we didn't look at our balance sheet, we didn't get a bookkeeper, an accountant, until our second year of operating our first business, Champion Soft Wash. And when we got the bookkeeper, the game changed. I didn't drag my feet, but I didn't really want to take the 30, 45 minutes and sit down on a Zoom call with our bookkeeper and go over things, because I got to go clean. I got to go sell. I got better things to do. This isn't making me money. But here's the thing, it does make you money. So a P&L is really just a summary of your revenue compared to your expenses in a period of time. Whereas your balance sheet has all of your deductions and your assets and your liabilities and receivables. And it's really just like a large, whereas your P&L is just kind of a snapshot and you can see exactly how you're doing. So every month we would have this meeting with our bookkeeper. And because the chart of accounts were so good, we had categories for chemicals, for marketing. And then under marketing, it was like uniforms, print, ads, and then networking meetings. And then for admin, it was like subscriptions to our CRM and QuickBooks and this and that. So when everything is categorized, then it's really easy to be like, yo, like marketing, like we're spending 10% on marketing. Is that good? And this is where, when you listen to people and you talk to folks who have more successful businesses, where you can gauge how well you're doing. And so when you find out that anything, around 10 to 25% is in your net profit is really good. And so you're like, whoa, we're doing really good. Our net profit is like 20%. And then when you find out that their marketing is like 4% and your marketing is like 10 or 15, like, whoa, something's going on. Am I bleeding? And so it just allows you to just ask the right questions versus just like, is this how marketing should be? Is this where our chemicals should be? Is this where our labor should be? There's some numbers that you can only get down so far, but these are numbers that get better over time. And so when you have the right person in the right seat, they tend to do more work, they tend to be happier, they do better work, and you can also get a little bit more work out of them as long as you take care of them and fill their cup. And then also, the longer that you're in business, you need to market less because Krupin's is out there, right? All these businesses, I know of them, they're out there. And so I don't have to go throw the 1,000 flyers or send out the marketing campaign or spend, $100 a day on my Google because the return on the investment, it's diminishing, and I'm tracking that through my P&L. So what I would say is get a bookkeeper, get the chart of accounts set up. If you get a bookkeeper and you don't get the chart of accounts set up and you're just like, do your thing, bookkeeper, it's not going to work. You need to have the monthly meetings where you take a look at your P&L and you have the categories, and then you want to be like, okay, I spent 30% on labor. Is that good? Let me go ahead and check with everyone else. And then, oh, these people aren't checking their numbers. And that's when you can go ahead and judge them. But then you want to also just like listen to see what the numbers are. And then you can share what yours are. So you can help other people by sharing your losses and sharing your victories. I'm at 15% and I have 4 trucks. Holy cow, that's crazy. How do you do that? Well, because I'm on a 410 system, because I work 6 days a week and I have people doing 410s and 410s, and there's overlap there. And, you're going to find out something that someone's doing to get their numbers down. So yeah,
What
numbers
are,
are important.
what are some positive characteristics you want to look for in a bookkeeper?
And a bookkeeper, just someone who's horrible on the phone, someone who's boring, someone who's dry, someone you don't want to take to dinner with your family. It just means that they really love the numbers. They love just being in the numbers themselves. I would say asking the question, are you okay if we meet periodically, meaning monthly or every other month, to go over our P&L? And if they emphatically say, yeah, then that's a good bookkeeper. If they're like, I mean, most of my clients don't do that. I just create the report and I give it to you. I would say skip, go to the next one. And if you get to the end of the road in your local area and that's all that's available, you have what you have. But you're looking for someone who is emphatically, enthusiastically excited when you tell them, I want to look at the numbers with you. And they're like, great. I didn't think that you wanted to, because they can help you out and say, you're spending a lot over here. What if you did this? Tell me a little bit about this. They want to get to know your business, because a bookkeeper is a bookkeeper. He doesn't know about poop. She doesn't know about poop. So you got to tell them about poop. These are the chemicals that we use. These are the processes. This is how much paper, how much PPE I'm running through every month. This is how much I have to spend in order to have a good employee. So my labor has to be here. Well, you may want to crank up your pricing, because this is probably your threshold for what your net profit's going to be. You're not going to get any better than 10%. I don't know how you're growing with 10% net profit. Okay, so then I crank up my pricing a little bit. Okay, what was your delta as far as how many people you got per month? Well, it was +5, right? But
What's delta mean?
delta is the change. So a delta is like the Greek symbol for the change. So if every month I get 9 new clients for pooping, and then the delta is 9 if I took on 12 people, but then I lost 3. So that's the delta. And so these are just ways that you can just track the numbers.
A lot of business owners struggle with it because we're
Yeah.
we're good at doing the job, but then when it comes to the other stuff, that's where a lot of people drop the ball,
That's where people drop the ball.
and
Yeah,
that's why they
running your
can't
numbers, it's
scale.
also good in bringing your value too. Because if you have good numbers, if I want to buy a business that has a fantastic brand, and then I ask you the inevitable question, well, can I see your balance sheet or your profit and loss for the last year? Absolutely. And then I'm seeing this. That's what I want to see. So now there's value there. So now I see that your net profit's fantastic. Your labor is at a good place where it needs to be. This is a viable business. And I'm going to go even a step further, and I'm going to encourage the business owners that when they have income statements and that they're diving deep with their bookkeeper, I would encourage you and challenge you to share those numbers with your employees. And I know I probably just lost the ears of like a ton of people, and it happens all the time whenever this conversation comes up. The most important thing you can do is not pretend that you're operating a business. Don't pretend like this is a charity and I'm like, hey, this is for you. I'm just here for you. And I want to fill your cup, employee. And then I give you money. But like, I got this thing over here. Don't worry about that. Let's talk more about you. No, it's a business. They know that you need to make money and that you're here to make a profit. And so what we used to do is we used to do, sorry about that. We used to do monthly income statement meetings where we are looking at the numbers together as a team to show, hey, this is what I pay you, this is what I pay in marketing, and this is my net profit. So when you guys say like, hey, I need a raise, I can't provide you a raise because of what we have right now. There's money, the money is not there because otherwise I'm not making any money. So, but here's what we can do though. We can go ahead and raise our pricing a little bit. Y'all need to stop having callbacks on poop missed in the yard because I'm losing clients and I'm trying to get my delta to plus 11. And if I do, that means that my average is now going to be, instead of 100, it's going to be 105. And if I get two more clients, then that's going to be an extra, so much money per year. And at that point, yes, I can give you that raise because instead of putting that money in my pockets, now I can go ahead and split it with you. And so you have to be honest about what it is that you want to do with your business. But we have too many people that are just so scared of showing the numbers because people think that if I share my numbers with my employees, that they're going to go off and start a business. You think that they need to look at your numbers to see that a small business is viable? That's stupid. Don't treat them like they know that it's viable because they see how busy you are and they see the lifestyle that you're living. They want to stay with you because of how you treat them. Some people don't want to have a business. They don't. But if you would push them, then you're going to push them into the mistake of operating a small business, and they may not be wired to operate a small business, and then they 95% that fail potentially. So you have to be a good steward of your people by sharing the numbers, being honest about what you're doing with your profit and how much you're paying yourself. I don't mind telling my people, hey, I'm putting for every dollar that we get, I'm putting 15 cents in my pocket and I'm paying myself a salary of 10 cents of those dollars because I'm wearing this cap right now. But guess what? I'm gonna put this cap on you and now you get those 10 cents. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
With a P&L, you can go ahead and explain that picture. But if you don't understand the big picture, I don't know what you're talking to your employees about and how you're making them stay, aside from just promising top golf if you guys have a great month. You gotta get them in the numbers. Let them tell you, like, I don't care about the numbers. That's okay. You're gonna listen, you're gonna learn, and you're gonna hear what I have to tell you, because then you'll know deliberately why we pay you what we do and why we charge what we charge and why we operate the way that we do. Because they may be able to help you too. You have some smart people that work for you that have great ideas. Collaborate. They can help.
And that's why having meetings is important with your staff, right?
I would think so. Yeah, we have a meeting every Monday where we just we go over what their goals are and how they're doing, and then there is business in there, but we want to just find out how their weekend is, and just kind of get back into because by midweek it's like, all right, this is where I work, this is what I do. I mean, they spend 8 hours with you,
Hmm.
and so Monday morning, that's a tough period. They just spent, if you have 4 10s, they spent 3 days chilling out, and then it's back to the grind on Monday. And so we want to remind them that, like, we're people and we care about how they're living their life too. And so Monday is a great time to do that. So we find out how their weekend went. And it's also a good place to do safety meetings. So with cleaning, OSHA standards are very important. And that if you have any issues, OSHA comes in and they check you out. And so they're going to want to find out where you guys conduct your safety meetings and do you have any signatures and proof that you guys have done that. I would guarantee that 90% of the people that are listening don't have that. But I would promise you that all 100% of you would benefit from having a 10-15 minute meeting where you talk about anything from like getting nipped by dogs, jumping over fences, trespassing, electrical hazards. Talk about it, have everyone sign it, and then go ahead and move on to coffee and donuts and just talk about the weekend. But at least you have record of safety meetings being conducted so that if something happens and a claim happens, something happens, that you have record of that you are trying to keep your employees safe. And insurance companies love that too because that helps them go to bat for you.
Now, if you are, say, if you're operating out of your house still, you have a couple employees, you don't have a building, where would you suggest having these meetings at?
That's a tough one. I honestly would say to just have them at your house.
Yeah.
You know, I know the fear is that if you have them at the house, your employees know where you live, um, and that's less of a danger than the fact that they see you at the house. And here's what I mean by that. If I know that my manager, my owners are operating this business from a house, a garage, then this looks very easily accessible on my part. I mean, John's great, but I know how to do this business and I could do what John does. And I'm pretty sure I could deck out my garage and do this and do that and make a shed and then get an office or whatever. That would compel someone because they see a vision that is greater than your vision. So here's how you counter that: just paint the vision. Paint the vision. Hey guys, we're going to come to our house and we know what the goal is, right? Our goal is this for numbers. We're trying to get to 300 clients because at 300 clients, guys, I'm going to get us to the office and we're all going to have a dream board and we're going to paint the walls. We're going to have the couch and you're going to have a cubicle and you're going to have your own vehicle. Guys, that's our vision. So yeah, I think it's okay to have it at the house as long as you're being very clear about what the goal is, because it's not anything that you need to be ashamed of, but it's something that you should feel could be a threat.
Mm.
But as far as being scared that people are going to come back and burn your house down, I mean, it's public knowledge anyway. So
Right.
even if
No,
even if you had an office, I could look up, Erica and find exactly where she lives and burn her house down.
nobody do
Don't do
that.
that.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
But so that's an irrational fear is my point. So
What about if you have to reprimand somebody? Would you do that at your home office or would you pick a different location?
yeah, wherever you conduct business, I would do it. I would say the where is less important than the how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each time I've always it's usually been over the phone for me.
Okay.
I really haven't had to do any reprimanding face to face, and maybe that's why I've had a problem with some of my employees because it's been over the phone. Now that we're talking about it.
You can look at it like a relationship. When I hire people, I'm not going to start dating someone just going back and forth on text. I'm going to meet them.
Yeah,
I'm going to see them
it's
in
true.
person. And if something's going on and we have some communication errors, we went on a date and something wasn't right. If I text them, it's probably going nowhere great. But maybe the next time I see them in person, hey, I can go ahead and explain some things. You can hear my inflection. You can see
Yeah.
my tone. You can see my non-sweat. So I'm not nervous because I know you're going to take this real well because I trust you in our relationship. There's a lot of, personal relationship things that go into friends and girlfriends and spouses and boyfriends and stuff that go into relationships with our employees.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I would say in person is obviously the best. And the thing is like, do you do it in front of others or do it privately? And that's where disc kind of comes back too. So some people, you don't undress them in front of others. Some people you can, and that's the only way you can reach them. But you have to know who you're dealing with. And so we're all have our languages as far as how to be reprimanded and how to be applauded, because not everyone wants to be publicly applauded either. It's embarrassing. Some people don't like that.
Yeah, they get embarrassed or they get ashamed. They don't want the spotlight on them.
We
You
don't
have
think like that.
no as a D. Give me all of the
That's all
glory.
I want. Give me all of it. No, but some people it hurts. They try to not do things worthy. They'll do just enough because they don't want to have it like, yo, spotlight on Miranda. She's doing amazing. Oh my gosh, please don't look at me. Yeah. But a private, here's a gift card. I appreciate you. Go so much further. You just lock that person down for another 3 months. If their timeline was maybe like 1 month. It's all about extending that fuse because everyone's got to leave at some point. No one's gonna be skipping poop forever,
Yeah.
including you.
In theory. Gosh, this was so good. I mean, the gist of it all is you really need to be a people person. You have to listen to people. You have to invest in your people. Not think about yourself so much, especially as a business owner. It's like me, 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 but you got to get out of that headspace.
Yeah. For new business owners, if you're starting this up, the goal is money and the
Yeah.
money will come. If you do it correctly, the money will come. If you do it incorrectly, the money will still come, but you'll lose people.
Mm,
Once you start focusing on people, the money will come and the money will stay and you'll grow. So yeah, money isn't it's and it's easy to say when you have money, but I promise you, when you get that money, you'll see that the problem of employees, it doesn't go away. And so if
mm-mm.
you can keep the people and love on the people, your business can grow fast, fast.
And that's what we want. We want to be able to grow, we want to be able to scale, and then eventually sell our businesses, right?
Sell the business.
Yeah. All right, is there any other little nuggets you want to throw out there before we wrap this one up?
No, this has been great.
So good.
I feel like you guys just need to just be honest with yourself. Figure out what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Know thyself. So important. And if you figure out yourself, then you'll figure out what your needs are. You can hire out your needs, and then support that, and you'll be able to grow. But you can't do everything.
You shouldn't do everything
No,
because you just spread too thin. I was just chatting with Donna about this before we hopped on, and we were talking about being spread too thin and how it's impossible.
it's real. Yeah.
It really is. All right. This was amazing. I want to thank you so much, Adam, for hopping on and just knowledge bomb dropping on us all over the place.
Yeah. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me.
Where can our listeners find you at?
They can really right now just find me on Facebook. If you just do facebook.com/Adam Hinesley, my name, that's the best way to follow all of our endeavors. But we have 8 businesses, 7 underneath that eighth one, and we'll be doing a lot of crazy stuff. We've got food, retail, nonprofit ministries kind of coming down the pipe, and then we've got home services, and we're putting people in place to run all those, and we're coaching them and helping them out with the financials and everything that we talked about. We're wanting to put people in place and see that they can go out and spread the love. So yeah,
Oh yeah, there's so much more to talk about. We didn't even get to touch on the business side of it,
we
but
did
I
it.
we'll have to have you back on.
Sure.
Okay, and then we could
Yeah,
talk about that. So you guys go ahead, check out Adam's Facebook. He does a really good job of crafting the posts and they're deliberate when he puts them on his page. So check those out, get some inspiration. And he has told me be intentional with your posting. You're on social media, you're curating an image for yourself. So do that for your viewers.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this awesome episode. I drop a new episode every Monday, usually. So until next time, bye.
Bye, guys.